everybody. How are you doing on this fine Thursday? I'm tired. I'm very tired. Last week was the whole Dan Schneider stuff. I feel like I was on top of that. And now, we didn't even get a moment before all this P. Diddy stuff started popping off. But here we are. We're all here together. So as you could see on the title, thumbnail, whatever, there have been more additional new allegations levied against Sean Puff Daddy P. Diddy Combs in that lawsuit that Lil Rod had filed. So let me show y'all the docket report. Now, this is public information, public knowledge. It is from a website that is like a government website or whatever, Pacer. Let me show y'all. Okay, so here's the docket report for the case. Oh man, this font is very small. As you can see, there actually even have been more filings since I downloaded the most recent ones. So today is March 28th. It is Thursday, March 28th. So look at all of the stuff that's been filed in this case just in the past couple days. Like here's the 20th, the 23rd, 25th, 26th, 27th. So what I want to talk about mostly in today's video are some of the updates that have happened with the P. Diddy case, the federal investigation that's going on against him, as well as I want to talk about these new filings. Reason I want to talk about these new filings in particular, where is it? These declarations right here. And also there was a motion to dismiss filed. And then where's that? There's another complaint they filed. I don't know. Did they take it off the... There was another complaint filed. Whatever. I downloaded it. So there was another complaint. Basically what the complaint is like the first part of the lawsuit where someone sues. So it's like when Lil Rod had sued P. Diddy, that was the complaint. Then he did amend that complaint, which would have been known as the first amended complaint. And then now it has been amended again with the second amended complaint. Now in the second amended complaint, which is really what inspired this video, the first amended complaint, which is kind of like the second one ever, it's very confusing if you're not familiar with throwing these words around. It was about 80 pages long, I think, and maybe 87. This new one is like 10, 13 pages longer. There's more allegations, there's more receipts, and this time it does mention Sean Chapman Hawley, who is a familiar player in this space. She's a lawyer who worked with Lindsay Lohan's mother to try and put her in a conservatorship. Sean Chapman Hawley has also worked for some unsavory and untoward characters. She's been involved with the Britney Spears case and the Sam Lutfi and all of that. So it's been a lot going on. Okay, so I do want to cover a couple updates on what's actually going on in history in this moment in time with Diddy right now. And this is going to come from, again, just all kind of like public record stuff. Then I want to get into reading a little bit of the lawsuits. We're not going to really go line by line just because it's like hundreds and hundreds of pages. But I have a decent idea of what's going on. I mean, the TLDR is people are distancing themselves from Diddy. We're talking Motown, UMG, Universal Music Recordings. Actually, Lil Rod's lawyer is being threatened with sanctions over this Sir Lucian Grange character. We'll get into all that, but that's the TLDR. Okay, so I want to show y'all a couple public open source, articles that I did find. Yeah, we kind of discussed it briefly yesterday at the end of the chat, the Ava Combs thing. Okay. So this is an NBC News article, and this is just an update from some of the stuff they found at the raids. So as you can see, there were some Second Amendment firearm type devices found at Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs, LA, and Miami properties. So they did find some Second Amendment devices at the properties, both in Miami and in California. Now, do we know for sure that those were illegal? No, of course not. We don't know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just reading a headline. An attorney for Diddy said he's going to continue to fight every single day to clear his name. And he's going with the idea that this was an overuse of police military force, which it could have been. I mean, we've seen that before, but I don't know. Los Angeles, this is from, this is 2 days old. Some of y'all probably already knew this. They found the stuff there. Let's see. Subject of a federal criminal investigation, several lawsuits. 3 women and a man had been interviewed by federal officials in Manhattan in relation to allegations of this type of trafficking, and assault and solicitation and distribution of these things that apparently are, weren't supposed to be elicited and distributed. Solicited. So 3 women and a man kind of sounds like all the people that sued Diddy. We know Cassie sued him. We know a Jane Doe sued him. And we know Joy Dickerson Neal sued him. And then a man, Lil Rod Jones, also sued him. So that could be who they interviewed. That seems the most likely to me. It was not clear what kind of firearms were found, who they belonged to. And then, of course, we have discussed the statement by Diddy's lawyer, who described the searches, the raids, as, quote, gross overuse of military level force. But nobody had been arrested, at least as of 2 days ago. There's no excuse for the excessive show of force. He's innocent, will continue to fight every single day. He's been the subject of numerous lawsuits. The one with Cassie was settled. Since then, 3 other women have filed lawsuits alleging that he had assaulted them. A former employee also filed a lawsuit in February saying that last year, alleging harassment and all that. So they're just kind of going over that stuff. Now, there has been at least one arrest, and that is this alleged so-called drug mule. Now, he was released on bond. Let's see. We do not plan on trying this case in the media. All issues will be dealt with in court. So I don't know. Photographs in the civil lawsuit of that person are similar to the Paul shown in the booking mugshot. Okay, so there's another telling of this arrest where it's a little bit clearer, but this Brendan Paul, this alleged drug mule, arrested Monday at the airport on charges of possession of certain substances. But here's the thing. I read another article, maybe we're going to look at it here, but I read another article that said that, yes, he was arrested at the airport in Florida, but he was arrested basically while boarding the private plane with Diddy. Let me show y'all. Let's see if we can find it. Okay. Let's see. This is the New York Post article. Sean Diddy Combs' alleged victims are, quote, talking a lot. Feds claim concrete, detailed, explicit allegations of S trafficking. Federal officials were acting on specific allegations of trafficking when they raided 2 of his homes on Monday, and they say his alleged victims have not been holding back during interviews. An officer with the Department of Homeland Security actually did interview with the New York Post, and he said this case has been active for several weeks, and as authorities investigate a range of allegations against the 54-year-old rapper and mogul. We believe there is a disturbing history. This is what was the Homeland Security agent said. We believe there is a disturbing history of S trafficking. We're responding to concrete, detailed, explicit allegations. This is not random. We did not choose his name out of a hat. We had allegations that we are following up on. The public first became aware of the allegations against him when his ex-girlfriend, Cassie, filed a federal lawsuit against him in November last year. The case was settled out of court the very next day, but has been followed by 3 further lawsuits alleging S assault, all of which Diddy has strongly denied. There's his house that was raided. He's not been charged with any crime or wrongdoing at this stage. Here's another quote from the officer, from the Homeland Security officer. We became aware of certain allegations during the course of the civil suits against Diddy. You have to understand, we didn't just decide on a whim to search his homes. A federal judge had to sign off. This isn't a witch hunt. because Diddy's talking about this as a witch hunt, and this, Homeland Security guy is saying no. We had to get permission from a judge. We had concrete, explicit examples. We had 4 witnesses at least who are talking and maybe corroborating the story. On Monday, when Homeland Security agents raided Combs' mansions, they confiscated hard drives, phones, and other evidence. And some of that other evidence, we were being told, is also firearms. The officer tells the Post they are looking for, quote, this is what they were looking for: photos, emails, texts, itineraries, and hopefully names. There are specific communications that we are aware of that we will be able to access on the electronics. And so they had left off the property with some electronics, laptops, stuff like that. In a statement Tuesday, Diddy's lawyer, again, said it was an overuse. In addition to the search, they were interviewing alleged victims and witnesses, including 3 women and 1 man, who are suing Diddy in civil court. So yes, that does confirm my suspicion that the 3 women and the 1 man were most likely Joy Dickerson Neal, the Jane Doe, and of course, Lil Rod. Now, I don't know who that other woman could be. Maybe it's Cassie. Maybe she's cooperating with them. This part, the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, the operative who they spoke with, he or she said those who had been interviewed for the investigation have been very thorough and detailed. That's the funny thing about victims, he said. This is a quote. They may be reluctant to speak at first, but once they start talking, they talk. They talk a lot. And we are getting a lot of cooperation from a lot of people who want to see Diddy brought to justice. He was stopped. Look at this. He was stopped from boarding a private jet out of the U.S. on Monday. So remember how it was like all this allegations and speculations about like, was he trying to leave? Was he fleeing? Was he trying to run? Did he get tipped off? Apparently, I mean, I'm not trying to say he was trying to run, but it does say it right here from the New York Post, who did interview the Department of Homeland Security operative. Diddy was stopped from boarding a private jet out of the U.S. on Monday and is believed to have remained in Florida since. This is where they apparently allegedly arrested that so-called alleged mule, the drug runner. He was about to get on the plane too. That's what I read somewhere. Maybe we'll see as I keep clicking here. However, despite the raids attracting a great deal of attention, he does remain a free man. He is not under arrest. He is under investigation. He is free right now to do what he wants, but he is aware that if charges come down, we will get him wherever he is. Okay, but this doesn't add up to me. Why was he stopped from boarding a private jet if he's free? His travel isn't restricted at all? That doesn't make sense. One of these things can't be true, right? If he's free, that's what this says. He is not under arrest. He's under investigation. He is free right now to do what he wants. But what if what he wants is to leave the country? There has to be some type of restriction on his travel if they stopped him. You can't stop someone from traveling unless you have order. You know what I mean? Okay, let's see. What's the other? We have a complex article, found firearms. Seized at both of his homes. 3 sources familiar. Okay, so this just gives us a little bit more info here. This article comes from Complex, and it was published, where's the date? March 27th. It was published yesterday. 3 sources familiar with the investigation, so consider the source, we don't know who these people are, said it's not clear to whom the firearms belonged or what firearms they are. One of the sources said that 3 women and a man have been interviewed, so we already talked about that. Federal prosecutors executed search warrants on the 2 Diddy properties on Monday to obtain evidence that could back up the allegations made against him. His 2 sons, Justin and King, were detained outside of the LA property, but they were not arrested. According to his legal counsel, Diddy has spoken with authorities, but he was never detained and he's not been hit with any criminal charges. Video footage showed federal agents rifling through his properties, including electronic equipment such as hard drives, personal computers, We know that the lawyer has speculated unprecedented ambush paired with advanced coordinated media presence, premature rush to judgment, nothing more than a witch hunt. And then so the DHS has responded, said it ain't a witch hunt. We have specific allegations. We have specific, detailed, explicit claims, and we're acting on those from more than one person, from more than one time period. So they're kind of going back and forth in the media, Diddy's lawyers and the Department of Homeland Security, over whether it was an appropriate use of force. I'm not going to weigh in on that. I'm just telling y'all the two sides that are being presented here. He is innocent, will continue to fight every day. We already talked about that. One of the few people arrested is Diddy's alleged drug mule, former Syracuse basketball player Brendan Paul. He was charged with one count of possession of this and possession of suspected. Okay, this is a stupid reason. Okay, I'm sorry. I understand in Florida it might be illegal and all that, but like that's a really stupid reason to arrest somebody. No, I mean, that's my opinion, fight it out in the comments. But if it's a law, I guess, but it's stupid. Okay. In the wake of the federal raids, 50 Cent has continued to mock Diddy and teased an investigative docuseries entitled Diddy Do It. Another thing about 50 Cent that has come out in the last couple of days, and I didn't know this. I'm not as, quite up to speed on everybody's names and everything. But apparently and allegedly, the name of at least one of 50 Cent's children's mom is Daphne Joy. And Daphne Joy might sound familiar to y'all because it was in that paragraph where we talked about Robin Greenhill, who is Diddy's accountant, who was allegedly, according to this Lil Rod lawsuit, Robin Greenhill, the accountant, was kind of wiring funds to the S workers and other people. So Robin was in coordination with wiring funds to these S workers and all that. She's TriStar Sports and Entertainment. But one of these S workers mentioned, in addition to Young Miami, was Daphne Joy. Well, apparently and allegedly, that is 50 Cent's child's mother. And now 50 Cent is on Instagram going, I didn't know she was a S worker. You little S worker, you, LOL. This is like a movie. And that's interesting to me. Let me see if I can pull up. Instagram like doesn't really work on this computer sometimes when I try, but I'll try to pull that up. Yeah, just like thinking real hard. Maybe I can find some type of article about it or something. 50 Cent S worker Daphne Joy respond. But I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory on this Daphne Joy lady because hold on. Because it's just like the whole little ring is just starting to all kind of, it's the same people showing up over and over. There's 7 billion people in the world, 8 billion, however many. And it's like the same people keep showing up because Daphne Joy wasn't only listed as a alleged worker at Diddy's on the Diddy payroll, but also she's at least been in some way romantically, sexually involved with 50 Cent, who those two are rivals. Like 50 Cent cannot stand P. Diddy. And he's always like making jokes about him and stuff. And then Daphne Joy also dated Jason Derulo. Well, P. Diddy and Jason Derulo are both Lou Taylor clients. And by Lou Taylor clients, I mean Robin Greenhill clients, who's the accountant for P. Diddy. So we know for sure Jason Derulo is managed by, or was business managed by Lou Taylor. And so is P. Diddy, who apparently they go way back. And it's like this one lady who's literally now in court documents being alleged to be a S worker on the payroll, being paid by TriStar, also dated another Lou Taylor client. Again, she's a big name in Hollywood. A lot of her clients probably overlap, but I'm just saying. Self-censoring is not something that I am interested in doing. However, if I would like to be able to use my voice at all in any way whatsoever on this platform, I do have to do so. It's just kind of like you gotta play the game. You know what I mean? Okay. So what's this last? Instagram's not working. All right. One more thing I wanted to show y'all is this website right here. And as you can see from the URL at the top, it is Motown Records, actual MotownRecords.com, who's posted this, and it's old. This is from like, I believe 2021. It doesn't have a date on it, but it does say, welcome Diddy to Motown. This is going to be important on this lawsuit papers we're about to talk about. Welcome Diddy to Motown, and they're holding up the L's. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who these people are, that's Diddy. And this is Ethiopia, I don't know, Habitamariam or whatever her name is. She was the CEO of Motown for a couple years. She's no longer, but she's also mentioned as a defendant in this Little Rod lawsuit. Now, she has been removed from the lawsuit in exchange for her declaration and cooperation with the case. But that's her. So at the time that this was released, she was the CEO of Motown. And then here's Diddy. They all hugged up. Welcome Diddy to Motown. Diddy and Motown partner up. Diddy is back, but let's be honest. Did he ever leave? He's worn many hats and bore different names, but the man born Sean Combs, has been a key fixture in music, business, and culture at large for decades. He's launched successful careers, established landmark brands, and he's even been known to release some music from time to time. And that's where Motown comes in. So this is Ethiopia right here again, CEO of Motown at the time, no longer. Pictured here alongside Motown CEO Ethiopia, Habitamariam, Diddy will be dropping his latest album on our label later this summer. Now, that was the Love album. That was the Love album, and that is the album at issue in this Lil Rod lawsuit. He was a producer for 9 songs on this album, and he's suing over things that happened to him while he was producing this album. Now, pictured here, we got the CEO of Motown, and look again, welcome Diddy to Motown. Motown partnering up. Did he ever leave? Here they are. Diddy comes in. That's where Motown comes in. Diddy will be dropping his latest album. That's the Love album. On top of that, we're helping establish his latest and most exciting venture yet, Love Records. Okay, so this is going to be very important, this piece of evidence. It's the only evidence I'm going to show y'all before we go into the lawsuit. We are helping. This Motown.com. Look at the URL at the top. We're helping establish his latest and most exciting venture yet, Love Records. The label, I guess, Love Records, which borrows the name from his most recent moniker, will focus on R&B projects through collaboration with performers, producers, and songwriters. The very first release from Love Records comes from none other than the man himself. Listen to Diddy's Gotta Move On, featuring Bryson Tiller. Okay, here is a statement from Ethiopia, the CEO of Motown. This is a major moment for Motown, as Diddy is one of the century's most important voices in music and culture. To be a part of his next evolution and album is nothing short of monumental. Then you had Diddy make a statement too. Music has always been my first love. Love Records is the next chapter about getting back to the love and making the best music of my life. For the label, I'm focused on creating timeless R&B music with the next generation of artists and producers. Motown is the perfect partner for my album. Motown is the perfect partner for my album. Now, Diddy did say these words, but MotownRecords.com, look at that. MotownRecords.com has that on their site still today, Thursday, March 28, 2024. Okay. Partner for my album. I'm excited to add to its legacy. Okay. So we've already gone over the complaint, the first complaint. I think it might have been the amended one. But now I want to pull up a couple of these documents, just kind of show y'all what they're trying to say in here. So first of all, we have different people have different lawyers in this case. So Diddy has, I believe, Sean Chapman Hawley, in addition to some other ones. But then the plaintiff, what's his name? Lil Rod, his lawyer is Tyrone Blackburn. So there's this other lawyer who's representing the big music record labels or whatever. And his name, I don't remember what his name is. He's from Pryor Cashman, Donald Zarakian. Okay, actually, let's pull up the second amended complaint first. This is, hold on, pull it up. The second amended complaint is basically the same thing as the first complaint, except, like I said, it's 98 pages long instead of what the other one was like 80 pages. So again, I'm not going to be able to keep the whole thing up on the screen the whole time, but I do just want to scroll to some parts where I noticed for sure that these documents are different. Now, one issue that I am having with the second amended complaint is that sometimes whenever people file stuff in court and it's amendments, there will be a key filed to let you know what stuff was actually changed, kind of like a red line or a track changes a little bit. It did not appear to me like there was any such filing here. And in fact, Lucian Grange and UMG and the big name players in this lawsuit, the big record companies, Ethiopia, all them, they make the same complaint, lack of a better word. They say, we don't even know what he actually changed in here. We don't even know what's the changes. But there is obviously a lot of additional stuff because it's pages and pages longer. So let me just scroll to a part where I know for sure it looks a little bit different. And that has to do with the Chalice recording. Oh, look, they don't added Cuba Gooding Jr., so let's put him in. Remember when we read it the last time, Cuba Gooding Jr., he was mentioned, but he was not named as a defendant. He was not actually getting sued. So it says defendant Cuba Gooding Jr. was a relevant actor who has fallen from grace due to several S assault lawsuits and a recent guilty plea for S assault. Oh, I didn't know that he pled guilty. Upon information and belief, okay, I'm not going to read his address, even though that is a public record and this is a document that y'all can all find. But do you see what I mean here? It's like if you didn't know if you didn't just know off the top of your head that he was not mentioned in the last lawsuit, then you wouldn't know that this was an addition in this second amended complaint. So I kind of had to tease through. I'm sure there's a lot of differences. I'm just going to scroll through the ones that appear obvious to me. And that has to do, like I said, with one of the incidents, and this one had occurred at the Chalice recording studio. Okay, so here's some new information right here. If you watched me go over the last one, the first complaint or whatever, you wouldn't have seen this part. And this part right here, see, there's a picture of Diddy and it's redacted, probably only redacted for the public. Probably there are people in there that the court can see. The fact that they were allowed to, as a result of the plaintiff is traumatized. Okay, look, the following is an image of Diddy a couple hours before G is bleep in the restroom of the Chalice recording studio. And there he is right there. This photo was taken at the recording studios outside of the studio where G was shot. So hours before he was shot. Okay, so look at this is new as well. And this is where Sean Chapman Hawley gets brought up. Chalice Recording Studios and defendants Sean Combs and Justin Combs, Representative Sean Hawley, provide conflicting and intellectually dishonest accounts concerning the shooting. Now, another thing to note, Chalice Recording Studios used to be a defendant in this lawsuit as well, and they have been removed, as has Ethiopia Habtemariam. So Chalice is not getting sued anymore. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're cooperating. Maybe it's just too expensive to sue all these people. I really don't know. It could be any reason at all. But this is new right here. Chalice Recording Studios and defendant Diddy and his son, their representative, that's their lawyer, Sean Chapman Hawley, provide conflicting and dishonest accounts concerning the shooting. Let me just make sure there's not, because there's some really graphic photos in this lawsuit. I'm not trying to show them for many reasons. Okay, we're good. All right, so this is another brand new piece of evidence we have not seen before. This is a DM on Instagram from Chalice Recording, and it says, I don't know when this was from. Let's see. Instagram message from Chalice Recording Studios. Upon information and belief, Sean Hawley claimed that she had evidence the shooting took place several blocks away and that G returned to the studio after being shot. So there's a file. Let's see. She previously represented Tory Lanez and Danny Masterson. Yes. So Sean Chapman Hawley was Tory Lanez's lawyer and also Danny Masterson, the Scientologist with the S assault. So I told y'all this woman gets around. She's made her rounds. That's Sean Hawley. And then they have a link right here as footnote 6. Okay. So the lawyer, Sean Hawley, the one who represented Danny Masterson, she is claiming she has evidence that the shooting took place several blocks away from the recording studio, but then G returned. Now, remember, in the complaint, the original one that we read, G got shot by Diddy or his son in the bathroom of the Chalice recording studio. So right now it's up at issue. Did he get shot even in that studio? If he did, who shot him? Was it Diddy and his son? Was it Diddy or the son? Was it neither? Who knows if he was even shot there, right? The lawyer who represented Danny Masterson and is also now representing Diddy and his son and this Chalice company, she's saying she has evidence that this took place down the street. So let's see what it is. Upon information and belief, TMZ reports their law enforcement sources claim the story that was told to cops that night was that the victim was robbed at point and shot by unknown assailants outside. The victim, who's G, stepped outside of the studio around 3:30 in the morning and was accosted by two individuals, at which point they tried to rob him. The man suffered a gunshot wound. Below is an image from Chalice recording studio. Okay, so here, I missed this. February 28th. So literally 1 month ago. Breaking evidence as of yesterday. We're just getting this hot off the presses from the federal court civil lawsuit against Diddy. This was filed yesterday. So it's telling us new evidence here. On or about February 28th, 2024, Chalice sent an Instagram message which alleges that G was shot half a block away from the recording studio. Okay. This is what it says. It occurred a half block away and it was a result of a robbery. There are police reports corroborating this. Please wait for the facts to come out before you start contributing to the defamation of our organization. Okay. Then, of course, we already talked about this. Sean Hawley claims she had evidence that it took place down the block as well. Here is the recording studio photo of it. In the photo above, the white van is blocking a security gate. To enter the building, you have to buzz the gate and announce which session you are there to attend. Once the correct session is confirmed for you, you have to go past another layer of security before you can enter the reception area. Once inside the reception area, you have to identify yourself and the receptionist will check to ensure that you're on the list. To get to the restroom where G was bleeding out, you have to follow a maze. Once you pass the receptionist, you walk down a long hallway, walk past 3 recording studios, turn left, go past the lounge area before you finally arrive at the restroom where G was bleeding out. TMZ also reported that Diddy and his son were not in the studio when the police arrived. This is also factually inaccurate. So he's basically saying TMZ is fake news, and here's how, and here's why. Let me just make sure there's nothing graphic on the next page. Okay. See, this is all new. We didn't see this when we went over the lawsuit that first time. No, we did not. Okay. Can we do it like, I see. All right. Mr. Combs and his son were located in Studio G across the parking lot from the building where G was shot near Studio A. Okay, so they were not in the building. Hold on. This don't add up. TMZ reported that Diddy and his son were not in the studio when police arrived. That is factually inaccurate. They were located in Studio G across the parking lot from the building where the guy was shot. And the guy was shot near Studio A. Diddy and his son hid out in recording Studio G while the police investigated and were the first to depart after the officers left. This fact will be made crystal clear in discovery. Well, I hope it's made crystal clear in discovery because right now it don't make sense. This lawyer, Attorney Blackburn, who I'm biased. I want to be on his side. He's not really saying the same story as his own self. Because he's saying right here that it's a false statement that TMZ made whenever they said Diddy and his son were not in the studio when the police arrived. But he's just saying right now he was in Studio G. That's across the parking lot. So they weren't in that studio. They were in a different studio. Y'all see what I mean? And here's his little Friday 9/9. Here's his little Instagram story. Mr. Combs published the Love Records Chalice Recording Studios assignment list. He stayed in Studio G throughout the duration of the writer's camp. This is good evidence. Lounge G, Aunt Clemens, Diddy, Studio G. Yeah, okay, look, this is good evidence if real. Look, and it's from Diddy saying he was in Studio G. So I think it's like fair for TMZ to have said he wasn't in that studio where G was shot. He was in a one across the parking lot, but we're promised it's going to be made crystal clear in Discovery. So let's keep on scrolling. Here's more new information right here. Upon information believed, after being shot in the torso and hip leg, the shooting victim was physically incapable of walking. Therefore, the notion that he was shot several blocks away from Diddy's lawyer, Sean Hawley, half a block away, which is from the recording studio, or as he stepped outside of the studio, is implausible. Okay, that's strong evidence. That's definitive. If it's true. He's saying, well, he was shot in the leg and he couldn't walk. So how was he shot blocks down the street and walked back in, or even right outside? So I see what he's saying. He's saying, okay, Sean, there's a whole bunch of versions of this story. First of all, the TMZ version, then we have the Sean Hawley version, and we have the Chalice Recording Studios version. None of them adds up with the truth, which is that the guy couldn't walk. So how could he have possibly walked back into the studio, gone down a long hall, turn right, turn left, all this stuff? Also, I think it's going to end up being important what the evidence is. Was there blood dripping down all the way down the hall, or was it only in that bathroom? Because if it's only in that bathroom, it's going to be very difficult for Sean and P. Diddy and all them to explain how he got shot twice and didn't drip one drop of blood till he got down the maze, back around the hall, around the corner, mulberry bush, then onto that bathroom. Y'all see what I mean? If G could do as much walking as Sean Hawley and Chalice Recording Studios claim, then the plaintiff would not have been required to physically pick him up off the restroom floor and walk him through the maze that is CRS for him to receive care from the ambulance. Right. That is what he had said he had done in the lawsuit. He was like, everyone was just standing around and I had to actually help this man get up and go walk to the ambulance. Okay. Here is... They go on. I'm not sure. I don't remember reading this on the last time. As of the date of this filing, neither the LAPD or the fire department has released any official reports surrounding this incident. There's been no body camera footage or 911 call recording. What's even more disturbing is that there has been no sighting of the shooting victim. Oh, that's news to me. Remember that guy that got shot in the recording studio? He hasn't been cited. There's no sight of him. That's happened since. That's what we're being told in this new filing from yesterday yesterday. The LAPD has only released a vaguely written news release dated September 12th, 2022. The unfortunate shooting of G, the unexplained disappearance of G, and the lack of disclosures by the LAPD and the LA Fire Department, the incoherent nature of Sean Hawley and Chalice Recording Studios' account of the shooting raises more questions than answers, point to foul play, and an apparent massive cover-up. Tyrone Blackburn is not playing with these people. The unfortunate shooting of him, the unexplained disappearance of him, lack of disclosures by authorities, and the incoherent nature of all these people's stories that don't agree with each other screams a massive cover-up. That's what this lawyer is saying in these filings. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Okay. And then we have another new section right below it. The deafening silence from the attendees of the CRS shooting stems from an understandable fear that the attendees would be sued by Diddy for violating a non-disclosure agreement. And teaser, spoiler alert, we have a redacted version of the NDA in these court filings, and we will take a look at the NDA as well. Again, public documents. They attached it as an exhibit here. The standard P. Diddy NDA, we're going to get to take a look at it. Yes, we are. Okay. A few days before the shooting inside of the recording studio, Diddy required all attendees to sign a non-disclosure agreement also known as an N, not sign the agreement. Okay. So that might be why he is able to speak out now. He didn't sign an agreement, the plaintiff suing Diddy. A copy of the agreement that a witness who has asked to remain anonymous provided this writer is attached. Unfortunately, for the attendees of the writers' camp, they are unaware that NDAs are non-binding when it comes to reporting criminal activity, such as a shooting, trafficking, and the distribution and use of illegal this and that. Okay, so not legal advice. I'm just reading it here from the paper. But yes, NDAs do not apply to criminal activity, and they do not cover criminal activity. You aren't supposed to be able to enter into those. But like this lawyer says, unfortunately, most people don't know that, and they scared. A copy of the non-disclosure agreement is attached. Okay, so this, they've updated instead of just, okay, this is a new place. Bartholomew, I don't know, girl. Bartholomew, I don't know what this name is, but it was California, New York, Florida, and the Virgin Islands in the last filing. But now we have this new place, St. Bartholomew or whatever. I don't know how to say that. I'm not up to speed with my islands names. Okay, let me just scroll some more and see if what else there is that's new. Oh, sorry. Okay. R&B singer, Young Miami. Okay, we have new footnotes. So this is a little scandalous down here. So this is the part where they're talking about that Thanksgiving situation. Let me find the 12. I'm looking for 9. Okay. Mr. Combs went so far as to share a video of who he claims was Stevie J. All right. So this had said a video of Stevie J. And there were photographs, which I did not show y'all, but it is public. You could find them. They're out there on the internet, of very blurry of Stevie J or Stevie J lookalike, somebody they were purporting in there to be Stevie J, engaged in a sexual activity with another man. It's very blurry. So they've changed the verbiage here. And now it says a video of who he claims was Stevie J. Now, let's go to this footnote it's attached to. This writer is in possession of the video. So that explicit video, the lawyer has it. Stevie J denies that he is the person in the video. A male P star claimed that he was the black male in the video. Mr. Jones, that's the plaintiff, stands by his position that Diddy provided him with the video and he identified the individual as Stevie J. Okay, so that's new. Something that, I didn't know that. Some male P star came out and admitted that it was him in the video. Just scrolling through. Now we're to the booby trap part. The S workers. Combs, we're on Cuba Gooding Jr. $50,000. We saw that too. Eating the face. Bodyguard talking about snitching. J-Lo with a gun. Fahim Muhammad. There's probably a lot of stuff that they have changed, but I'm just kind of skimming. Cost him. Okay. Okay. Just. Oh, here they are on the boat. All right. We got some more yacht. I don't think we saw this yesterday. Here's Diddy. Somebody passing out shots, recording, something. So it says, according to Mr. Jones, on multiple occasions, that chief of staff, Christina Karam, forced the plaintiff to carry the drug pouch against his will. The pouches were always black, and several of the staff carried black Prada pouches. According to the plaintiff, the head of staff, Christina Karam, also sent Mr. Jones, the plaintiff, to solicit S workers for Diddy. When they would arrive at the residence, the defendant, Christina Karam, would negotiate their price and would take them aside and pay them. So this picture is labeled Mr. Combs Butler, Frankie, with the black Prada pouch mentioned above while on the yacht from December 2022 to, okay, so where's the black pouch? I don't see it. I'm not really seeing a pouch. Is that it right there? That's supposed to be the pouch? I don't really know. Okay. Had law enforcement under control, allowed to wreak havoc. Okay, this is new. Oh, this is new. Oh, church. Oh, here come the church. Defendant Diddy hired private investigator Russell L. Green to seek out, harass, and bribe individuals to provide dirt on Mr. Jones on or about March 2nd, 2024. So that's earlier this month, like 25 days ago. Plaintiff was informed by a close friend from his church that Diddy's engineer named Matt Testa provided an individual's phone number to LA-based private investigator Russell L. Green. It's Russell Green. So-and-so gave me your number. Are you available to speak with me? Hey, I can chat in a couple hours if that's cool. And then the private investigator says, sounds good. I'm an event from 3 to 5, so I'll be available after 5. I'm on the West Coast. Where are you? I'm in LA. Were you available now? Did you just call me? Yes. Okay, so upon information and belief, Mr. Green, that's the private investigator, attempted to bribe this anonymous individual with an uncertain amount of money in exchange for her producing text messages or any evidence that this individual could produce to paint Mr. Jones in a bad light. So he's alleging, the plaintiff here is alleging that Diddy is basically doing oppositional research on him, and he's seeking out people from his church, or through this private investigator, he's seeking out people from the plaintiff's church, basically trying to find dirt on this guy. Now, in and of itself, I mean, bribery is a crime, but bribery is not the same as making an offer. And unfortunately, someone can offer to get dirt on you if you're in a lawsuit. The problem becomes when you're like intimidating witnesses. Thank you so much, Brett, Grace, and Eddie. Let's see. I am right in thinking the NDA is void if it's to cover up a crime. Yeah, that is my understanding, Brett. And thank you for the super chat. Eddie said, look into Jonathan Odd, escort Diddy and Cassie used. He's on page 69 of Lil Rod's lawsuit, 2018. Oh my. Okay, that's interesting to know. And thank you for the super chat. Okay. So I'm not exactly sure where they're going with this, but it is interesting to know that this is an allegation being made. During a call with the plaintiff, this anonymous individual expressed fear for their safety and the safety of their family. This is a clear example of some of the tactics implemented by Diddy and the members of the RICO and criminal enterprise. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else new. Besides contacting the individual previously mentioned, the private investigator also contacted Mr. Jones's 8-year-old daughter. Oh, y'all should have led with that. He solicited information from this child about her father until she cried in fear and handed the phone to her mother. At that time, the mother hung the phone up. Mr. Green proceeded to then text the 8-year-old. She informed him she did not want to be bothered, and he continued to send her unwanted, harassing text messages. And this is how these people act. I've had people do this type of research against me before, and there's nothing to find, so they wasted their money and their time. But they will try to isolate and alienate you from everybody. What their main goal is to make you not have any support, to make you feel isolated and alone. That's the main goal. Now, innocent until proven guilty, I'm not saying Diddy did do this, but these are horrendous allegations. Horrendous allegations that this private investigator hired by Diddy called the 8-year-old daughter of the guy suing him and made her cry on the phone. That's, I don't know about all that. Okay, so then this is the part where the other guys are also guilty. This is like the legal arguments about what's this? These are the partnerships. This is going to end up being a big argument in this case, whether they were actually partners or not. That's why I showed y'all that website, that Motown website. As outlined in the chart above, from 2003 to 2005, Diddy, the then CEO and owner of Bad Boy Records, entered a joint venture deal with Universal Music, a subsidiary of Universal Music Group. Upon information and belief, the time they entered a 3-year joint venture. It was public knowledge that he had a serious reputation for violence and engaging in alleged criminal activity. Defendant UMG had firsthand knowledge of Diddy's propensity for violence because on April 16th, 1999, Diddy assaulted Steve Stout, their executive vice president of Interscope Geffen A&R. Combs was arrested, so Diddy got arrested and charged with 2 felonies, second-degree assault, and criminal mischief. In the beating of Steve, who says Diddy and 2 bodyguards beat him with their fists, a telephone, a champagne bottle, and a chair, Diddy had a criminal trial surrounding the 1999 nightclub shooting in in New York City, when Diddy required his then girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, to transport his illegal firearm into the New York City club. Whether he's a free agent like him comes along, which is rare, you grab him. Okay. Former television host Roger Mills sued Combs for assault in 2001. The case did not end until 2004, 2 years into the joint venture deal. So what they're trying to do right now in this lawsuit, in this area that we are reading right now, is lay it out for the judge. They're partners. Don't let Motown and UMG back away from this now, because they had no problem with any of this violent propensities. This is what he's saying, not me. They had no problem with any of this the whole time they've been working with him. And they knew before they ever even started working with him that he had problems. And then after they started working with him, they knew that he was getting sued for assault and he was being tried with felonies and every other thing else. So yes, they did have a partnership. That's what they're trying to argue here. Provided financial support to him. Okay. Sometime in 2022 or 2023, all the defendants, Diddy, his enterprises, his son, they established the latest iteration of their RICO enterprise when they entered a general business partnership to establish Love Records and to distribute Love Records' first album, the Love Album, Off the Grid. According to this former CEO of Motown, and she was chairwoman at the time, she reported directly to this guy, Sir Lucian Grange. This man is a knight. He has been knighted with a sword by Prince William in 2016 or something, 19 or something. So the man is one of them, if you know what I mean. She states that she was given approval by the defendant to enter into a partnership with him to establish Love Records. It's safe to assume everybody was aware of it because it would have had to be approved. Now we're talking about endless drugs, S workers on a yacht. We've already talked about this. They transported the DRUGS by flying on commercial airlines from California, New York, Florida, Virgin Islands, placed the controlled substances in their carry-on luggage through TSA, carried the substances in black pouches, and distributed them to Diddy, his friends, house guests, girlfriends, and S workers. Functioned as a continuing unit, maintains an ascertainable structure separate and distinct from the pattern of racketeering activity. So who's this? As part of this scheme, defendants required their artists, creatives, musicians to visit strip clubs wearing exclusive, authentic Bad Boy merchandise and to use the name and reputation of Diddy to solicit S workers. So this is the new Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, here's the plaintiff. Here's Lil Rod right here. And the alleged drug mule right here. And this is what those hats would have been looking like according to this lawsuit. So this is the guy suing right here, Mr. Jones. That's him. This guy got arrested, but he's unmade bail. He got arrested for weed gummies, though. So I'm feeling like maybe that was not the reasons to arrest him. But, in the first lawsuit that we did go through, it didn't have this picture. Now we see it. Here's a picture. Additionally, Diddy used the prospects of winning Grammy Awards, purchasing $20 million homes, participating in future projects, $250,000 in cash payments, meeting influential music executives to his advantage, and they were false representations. Defendants did all of this stuff to obtain free labor, the distribution of substances and firearms, S workers, minors, all that. I think this is all pretty much, we saw that. Just scrolling through to see if anything stands out to me before we get to these declarations. But there are some declarations. Trip details. What's this? Plaintiff Jones was forced by defendants Diddy and his chief of staff, Christina, to send Ubers to transport a S worker to and from Diddy's house located in Florida. We have the complete text thread and have intentionally opted not to include it here to protect the identity of the S worker. Diddy forced Jones, the plaintiff, to have relations with this individual against his will. According to the plaintiff, Diddy felt there was too much testosterone in the studio and wanted S workers there to create the vibe for the Love album. Upon information and belief, this Uber and the S worker were compensated from the financial support defendants Lucian Charles Grange in his capacity as CEO of UMG, authorized Motown Records to provide that money to him. Okay, so basically they're saying Diddy got this money. He got an advance payment from Lucian, from UMG for this, and look what he's doing with it. He's having S workers coming in and out of the studio. Here's more trip details. Okay, we already said that. Defendant through his authorized agent recruited him to work as a producer. He was supposed to get $20,000 per song, 4 royalty points, credit as a producer, credit for each instrument that he played, and he has to retain his publishing rights. So Diddy started recruiting him and showing him how to recruit the S workers, work out of his bedroom. Combs distributed guns. I think we read most of that part. Oh, damn. Defendant Combs' property is protected by 24-hour security. What is this up here? Oh my God. So this is all the times that I don't think we saw this last time. It's as evidence in the chart below. At the direction of Diddy and his chief of staff, Christina Karam, Jones, that's the plaintiff, was forced to solicit the identified S workers. They were brought to Diddy's homes in Miami, and he had no authority to invite guests without either defendant Combs or defendant Christina's consent. Okay, so these are all the times he's saying S worker. Oh my God, this is crazy. Look at all this. Each one of these dates is a different time that they had a person over. Oh my God. And it was just all the time. Look, January 30th, January 31st, February 1st, February 2nd, February 8th, February 9th, February 2nd here, February 4th here, February 5th here. Oh my God, it's overwhelming just looking at it. And this poor girl, they were working her. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Which there's nothing wrong with, making your money, girl. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say if this man up here really didn't want to be a part of this and he was, doing all this, I mean, at some point I might just say like, dude, I don't know. But then again, you watched him unalive or attempted to unalive someone. And then the guy they shot in the studio that night hasn't been seen or heard from or found since. That's pretty alarming. I would be scared. They caused Jones, the plaintiff, to engage in commercial sex acts utilizing force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, and a combination of such means. Whoo, girl. All right. So this is the controlled substances stuff. We've already read that. What is this chart? Members of the enterprise transported drugs. Plaintiff Jones personally witnessed members of the enterprise do this during national and international travel. So these are the dates. We have DeForest Taylor, location starting. So it's like going from LA to California, Florida to the French Caribbean, LA to New York, Virginia to LA to England. Brendan and Christina brought drugs. Rico Enterprise were rehearsing for something in the water festival. They were doing the drugs with them. Oh my word. This is a new picture. Busted. Who's that? The following is a screenshot of a video taken on Diddy's yacht on or about December 20. That's Christmas 2022 at 2:40 in the morning. The alleged drug mule is videotaped with one of the black pouches. That's the black pouch in question, allegedly. Diddy and Christina Karam required the associates and members of the enterprise to carry these pouches. It was filled with X, Coke, this stuff. So look, you can see it is a screenshot from a video, and he is holding 2 bottles of something. Again, to be fair, could be his, prescriptions that he's prescribed. We don't know. I don't see, just to be fair. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any pictures. That's crazy coming up. All right. Let's see. Second cause of action as assault. I want to get to these other things that were filed because this is just one document. I didn't really read it extremely clear. I think there's no more pictures here anyway. Okay. So let me pull up the next document that I wanted to show y'all that was just filed yesterday. And this one is a declaration filed by a lawyer in the case. Now, this is not Sean Chapman Hawley. This is a different lawyer. This is the one that's representing the Motown guy and the UMG guy. So let me pull that up. Okay. So, I can't zoom in and out on this. Well, that's shitty. Okay. This guy named Donald Zacharine. I don't know how to say that. Donald. He is a partner at the law firm Pryor Cashman. Now, who does he represent? Sir Lucian Grange, Ethiopia Habtemariam, and Motown Records. So these are his clients that he represents. And he's going to be writing to the judge on behalf only of them. So he ain't talking about Diddy. He's not representing Diddy. He's representing Lucian Grange, who's the CEO of UMG, and Ethiopia, the former CEO and chairwoman of Motown, and also Motown itself he's representing. Okay, before I turn to the falsity, it was filed just 2 days ago. Before I turn to the falsity of the complaint, I want to address this unauthorized filing of a second amended complaint. Okay, so basically this lawyer is saying all that new stuff that we just read, that we just talked about right now, the new stuff I showed y'all and we pointed out, there's probably other new stuff that I didn't notice. This guy's saying that's not allowed. He shouldn't have even been allowed to file that. If anything, it's even more offensively false than the first complaint. And this time, the lawyer cannot contribute the falsity to his client without the slightest factual basis. He has completely jettisoned every single one of the original foundational and utterly false allegations. First, he hangs his hat on this right here, this general partnership thing. He says in the first complaint, he called Motown the parent company of Love Records. Now he swapped that out, and now he's just calling it a general partner of Love Records. And then the rest of it, he's kind of just talking about my clients were not aware of any trafficking. We had a license agreement, publishing deal with him, and that was it. Mr. Blackburn needs to be, sanctioned. We only had my clients only had a licensing agreement. Or whatever. He's going on a lot. He spends a lot of time talking about them not being partners. He takes issue with the fact that it was called a partnership. And he also attaches a bunch of exhibits. Now, we're not going to look at every exhibit because there's 10 of them. But one that we are going to look at is from Lucian Grange himself, because I'm going to tell you one thing. He is heated. And it kind of gives you a little bit of insight into what happens to people that do try to sue. Because a lot of times people will ask, why didn't they sue if they were doing that crazy stuff? They were doing stuff that was so bad. Why didn't you just sue them? And I mean, if you read this declaration we're about to read, Exhibit 1, it becomes a little obvious why they don't. So let me pull that up. Okay. So again, this Exhibit 1 to that lawyer, Donald, we just read. This one right here is the declaration of Sir Lucian Grange in support of the motion to dismiss. So they have motion to dismiss the lawsuit. At least insofar as against Lucian, the UMG guy, Motown, and Ethiopia. He is the chairman. Lucian is the chairman and chief executive officer of Universal Music Group. It is a public company organized under the laws of the Netherlands. That's interesting and weird. Personal knowledge of the facts set forth. I've been named personally as a defendant in this action, along with Ethiopia, the former chairman and chief executive officer of Motown, which is not an independent company, but a record label that is a division. So Motown is not its own company anymore. I don't know if y'all knew this. It is a division of UMG. An indirect, wholly owned subsidiary of UMG. I am also the chairman of UMG, a Delaware corporation. UMG Recordings. Sorry. They have like all these different names, but it's like all owned by the same person or people. The court lacks personal jurisdiction over me. So he basically, first he says, this court over here in New York doesn't even have jurisdiction over me because I'm a California resident and y'all better sue me in California if you want to sue me. The claims against me and Motown and Ethiopia are factually and offensively false, he says. The fact that the allegations of my contacts with New York with respect to this matter are completely false is probably the least of the glaring flaws of the amended complaint. Based solely on offensively false accusations and without there being the slightest factual basis for such accusations, and as set forth in the accompanying declaration of our lawyer, the one we just kind of skimmed through, complete disregard for the obligations imposed on counsel by Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. This is very important. This Rule 11 allegation right here, that is like a lawyer red flag. If you as a lawyer see Rule 11, you're going to, sirens go off, because Rule 11 allows a lawyer to basically get in trouble for something they filed in court. So they're kind of saying, keep playing with us, lawyer, because we're going to come after you too. At one and the same time, the amended complaint inconsistently alleges that I was the unwitting victim of extortion activity by Diddy, who allegedly surreptitiously recorded me in his homes with the implication that he did so to compromise me. I was never in Diddy's home, is basically what Lucian is saying. I will detail below, he could not have recorded a video of me in his homes because I was never there. The amended complaint inconsistently describes me as some sort of bait, supposedly paraded out by Combs as someone he could introduce to plaintiff in order to induce plaintiff to provide music production services. But at the same time, the entire underlying premise that supposedly links me to this scheme is the baseless assertion that Motown is the parent company. Based on this false parent company allegation, plaintiff claims that all of us occupied what plaintiff and his counsel have called were his bosses. So basically, this is saying it's inaccurate for Mr. Jones to have acted like me and Ethiopia and Motown and UMG were Diddy's boss, because we're not his boss. We had a licensing agreement. And this actually raises a really important question, because if you know literally anything at all, maybe the first thing you learn about the music industry is that it's very confusing to figure out who owns what. They all working with each other. They all have all these different agreements, contracts, licensing this, publishing that, royalty this, representative that. And it's like, who is in charge? Let's say these allegations against Diddy are true. Let's say they're true, just for the purpose of a hypothetical. Innocent till proven guilty, but let's just say they're true. And he was purchasing, women to come in and out of the houses, and he was trafficking drugs here and there and everywhere. And let's say the allegations in the lawsuit are true, that Ethiopia and Lucian did know about it, but maybe they didn't step in, maybe they didn't intervene, maybe it was an open secret, everybody knew about it. Well, they kind of were, according to these allegations, providing the financing that would allow P. Diddy to fund this operation. And so it's like, just because they figured out how to, kind of sign exactly the right types of contracts, does that mean they should be off the hook? I'm really asking. I don't know. Is it something that it's like, if we just go after P. Diddy, but there's all these enablers in the system, we take down one P. Diddy and 6 heads are going to grow back. You know what I mean? It's like, we should kind of, I think, be able to kind of go up the chain and say, like, where's the origin of this? Again, this is all innocent until proven guilty. He is, what's the word I'm looking for? Combating the allegations. He's saying that's not true. He never even was at P. Diddy's house. So I don't know if that's true or not. The false premise of the amended complaint is that Motown Records is the parent company of Love Records. The amended complaint alleges that Motown Records supposedly owns Love Records. And that this Lucian guy, had a duty to supervise and control the activities of Diddy. He personally attended listening parties. So the allegations in that complaint we read last time we talked about it are that this Lucian guy came to Diddy's house and went disappear in the bedroom with him for hours. Remember that? And he's saying, yeah, they allege that I went to that listening party where these women were being exploited and these children, and I had a duty to keep that from happening. It also alleges there was a shooting at the Chalice Studios, which I gather was in LA, and that Motown and UMG were supposedly responsible. And he goes, every one of these unsupported allegations is completely false. First of all, Motown Records is not the parent company. See, they're real hung up on that. Motown does not own any interest in Love Records and has never owned any interest in Love Records. And for the record, no UMG company has ever had any interest in Love Records. So he's basically saying we don't own them because we don't have a financial interest in them. But that's not the only way to determine whether you're the respondeat superior. There's other ones, I think. So he's saying it's fake. It's fabricated ownership. We don't own none of that. That's Diddy's thing. As shown in the declaration of this other lady, Motown's sole involvement with Love Records was that it ended up in a arm's length negotiated license agreement. So that's the only thing we have to do with them, is we were in a licensing agreement with him for one album, and that was it. So this is like the gist of this declaration. In short, Motown Records, UMG Recordings, Ethiopia Habtemariam, and I had no right or ability to exercise supervisory control or authority over Love Records or Diddy, and we had no obligation to do so. Diddy was not, as it is falsely alleged in the amended complaint, our employee. Motown's sole relationship to Diddy and Love Records was through a commonplace and ordinary relationship of a licensor, which is Love Records, and a licensee, which is Motown Records. And as this other declaration states, the relationship was terminated in February 2023. There is not a single fact supporting any claim pleaded anywhere in the amended complaint. They mentioned this Sean Chapman and Holly thing down here about the new evidence about the record studio. He also denies that he ever provided any cash. At no time did UMG Recordings, Motown Records, or I ever provide Love Records or Mr. Combs with, quote, cash. As Ethiopia's declaration states, pursuant to the licensing agreement with Love Records, Motown Records agreed to pay certain invoiced recording costs. And he says this is customary in the industry. We did not give him cash. So I think that's pretty much all on that one. Let me bring up a letter. This one was filed yesterday with the court. And it is a letter from Blackburn, from Tyrone Blackburn, who is the lawyer suing Diddy. And he kind of snaps back at this allegation that they're not in a partnership, because they're basically saying they're going to go Rule 11 on this guy. They're going to try and sanction him. So let me pull this up. Okay. He wrote a letter to the judge yesterday. This is from the plaintiff's attorney. Dear Judge, oh, sorry. Let me just make it bigger so y'all can see it. Oh, shoot. Oatkin, I don't know how to say his name. Dear Judge Oatkin, as you are aware, this firm represents the plaintiff. This letter addresses the motion to dismiss filed by the defendants. On March 4th, plaintiff received a letter from defendants regarding opposition to his complaint. Okay. So on March 4th, earlier this month, the lawyers for some of the defendants, which I think was the one we just read, that what's his name? Zarkian, Donald. He sent a letter to the defendants. Sorry, from them to the plaintiff, to the lawyer, regarding they were going to oppose this lawsuit filing. In accordance with the 21-day safe harbor rule, the plaintiff, that is Jones, amended the complaint on March 25th, 2024, on the 21st day of the 21-day safe harbor. Rule 11. So now he's talking about that rule in the federal rules of civil procedure, which allow for an attorney to get in trouble for something they filed. It requires a party seeking sanctions to first serve the challenge lawyer with sanctions motion describing the conduct that allegedly violates the rule. And then after that, that lawyer has 21 days to withdraw or amend the allegedly deficient pleading. This is precisely what occurred here. So the guy is saying, look, Your Honor, on one side of P. Diddy and them's lawyer's mouth, they coming out and saying, I didn't have permission to file an amended complaint. On the other side of their mouth, they're saying that my first complaint that I did try to file, it had all kind of problems. Well, if it's true that it had all kind of problems and the specific problems would result in me getting sanctioned, there's all kind of technicalities that have to happen. One of those technicalities that has to happen is I have to get notice. Another technicality is I have 21 days to fix it before anybody comes after sanctions. And so he's saying that's exactly what I did. I amended the complaint. Is precisely what happened here. Notified me of the alleged deficiencies on January 9th. I don't know what this is all about. Oh, I guess this is just like a case law precedent. As part of the plaintiff's amendment, he received a declaration from Ethiopia, which we did read in the last coverage that I did of this. In her declarations, she states that Lucian was her direct supervisor and that UMG provided authorization to establish and fund the Love album. The plaintiff determined that UMG and Motown had a general business partnership based on the public statements on their websites and LinkedIn business pages. Now, this letter, hot off the press, this just went to the judge. It was literally written yesterday. The judge might not even read it yet. I don't know. It is like 2:30 over here. He might have. The plaintiff determined they had a general business partnership based on the public statements on their websites and LinkedIn. If the court visits the attached link, it would see for itself. As of the filing of this letter, Motown still refers to the deal with Diddy as a partnership. Look at it says right here. In the relevant part, the defendant's website states the following: Diddy and Motown partner up. Diddy will be dropping his latest album on our label later this summer. On top of that, we are helping establish his latest and most exciting venture yet. Then he cites the LinkedIn page. Love Records, Motown Records, little handshake emoji. Diddy's new album will be the first release from Love Records in partnership with Motown. Defendants are solely responsible for their public statements regarding their partnership with Diddy. They did not have any issues. Okay, this part is so good. They did not have any issues marrying themselves to Mr. Combs when it was popular. Now, suddenly, after Miss Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit on November 16, 2023, they're treating Diddy like he has the plague. And they're trying desperately to rewrite history despite what is presently on their websites. So he's kind of saying, clocked, receipts, no. On March 27th, motion to dismiss the first complaint with the second amended complaint was filed in bad faith. There's nothing more than a public relations stunt by the defendants. Okay. The plaintiff notified the court last week that I was going to amend the complaint. 2 days later, their lawyers over there on the defendant's side filed a letter and finally made an appearance in this case. This was despite sending this writer threatening emails and letters. So he's saying like he received threatening emails and letters from the defendant's lawyers, and they're just basically like playing dirty. Did not formally file a motion to amend the pleading because he had a duty under the safe harbor rule to amend any issues raised by the defendant. Okay, so technicalities. The defendant's motion was filed in bad faith to distance themselves from their business partners. Recent run-in with the law. Yeah, okay, bad faith filing. Okay. So, I mean, basically that's pretty much what I had. I can look for the NDA if y'all want me to scroll through that real quick. Also, there's this exhibit which shows the recording contract, so I can scroll through that too real quick. So the licensing agreement at issue is provided to us in part here. This is this Martha Birthweight lady. I'm not going to read her thing. What in the hell kind of signature? So look, and they have it right here. Exclusive recording agreement, May 4th, 2022. Motown Records, Love Records, who look, TriStar Sports and courtesy of. So Love Records, as is still 2022, May 4th. TriStar Sports and Entertainment. That's Robin Greenhill, Lou Taylor. Capitalized terms. Okay. And then it's probably just all redacted. Yeah. This is just out there now. They just got the recording agreement, artwork, packaging. Let me see if I can find Lou. No, it don't search. Okay. Let me find the NDA. It might be Ethiopia. Ethiopia filed a long thing too. They show the Love Records Incorporation articles. Let me do. And then there's also a motion to dismiss. I mean, I might have to just like separately read this motion to dismiss. I will pull it up just so that y'all can see it. But this is the motion to dismiss right here. And it's another long one, 32 pages, filed literally yesterday. Well, actually, this is the memo in support of the motion to dismiss, but this is like where all the actual arguments and stuff are. Let's see. Criminal accusations against Combs and his associates, whatever the truth or falsity of those accusations without the slightest factual or legal basis and reckless disregard for Rule 11. They have improperly accused these people of trafficking and all of this. Yeah, I'll probably just have to like read over this later. Like, leave it in the comments if y'all are like really interested in going through this. I'm not trying to sit here and read like documents all day if y'all don't care. But yeah, so there's that. I feel like this. Who's feeling that they're going to find some of Britney's money tied in the scandal? Me. Oh, wait. What's this? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, this is like old. Oh, I'm like, wait. Let me go to new. Colleen, hello. Okay. Letter from the Blackburn to... Okay. This is what I want to show y'all. Exhibit 10. Okay. So this is a letter to the plaintiff's attorney. This is a letter written March 4th where they're basically threatening him. And this is why I said, like, this is why people are scared to sue, because not only do they come after you, not only are they going to be calling your 8-year-old little daughter, not only are they going to be slandering you through the media, looking for dirt on you. If they do have dirt on you, they're going to be using it, but they're also going to try and isolate you from everyone and try to threaten your lawyers as well. So this firm represents Universal Music Group. They sent it to the lawyer. Motown Records, which has been improperly identified in the complaint you had filed, Sir Lucian Grange, and Ethiopia. This letter is being sent to you in advance of our making a Rule 11 motion in accordance with the requirements of Rule 11. Such a motion will provide you with the required 21-day notice before we seek the imposition of monetary sanctions against you and your client for having filed a complaint. So there we're going to file a Rule 11 sanction, motion, which would allow for the defendants to recover monetary damages. So meaning you could sue somebody as powerful as the president and CEO of UMG, and they could finagle the law such that you owe them money, even after everything you've been through. You can avoid a Rule 11 motion only by withdrawing the complaint or immediately amending it to remove all allegations and claims against our clients. If you fail to do so or fail to confirm to us that you will do so, we will proceed against you. This is to the lawyer, for the lawyer, like from lawyer to lawyer. This is bullying him to take away his complaint against the clients, or else he's going to now have his license on the line. Y'all see how this is finagled? The rule explicitly requires an attorney filing a complaint certify to the court he has made reasonable inquiry and that the complaint is not presented for any improper purpose, such as to harass or increase cost. The attorney further certifies to the court that the claims are warranted by the law and are not frivolous for extending or modifying the law. And perhaps most importantly, the factual contentions have evidentiary support or will likely have support after further investigation or discovery. In the complaint, you certified the court accusations and conclusions about our clients that you present as facts, but they are completely and demonstrably fabricated and untrue. Had you conducted anything remotely resembling the reasonable inquiry required by Rule 11, you could not have filed the complaint, which I didn't really see anything in there that made me think that. Everything I saw in there, I mean, there was a lot of receipts, there was a lot of pictures. It seemed credible to me. I mean, I don't know. What do I know? Your complaint fails to state a claim against our clients. The RICO allegations are wholly deficient, substituting a non-specific group allegation and conclusion for a single factual one. Your aiding and abetting allegations of alleged criminal trafficking are premised on a non-existent duty because they weren't partners. So this lawyer again is like, they were not partners. No basis upon which any existence of cash payments. I definitely feel like Robin Greenhill is tied up in this mix somehow. I definitely do. Provided a few examples. Again, this is from that Donald Zakarin guy at Prior Cashman. He also tags Jonathan Davis. I don't know if he related to Clive or not. And Alice Dare McMullen. Obviously, I didn't read that whole letter either. There's a lot of letters here. Okay. There's a lot of paperwork filed. Like I said, just on that declaration of Donald, there's 10 exhibits. And that declaration is actually pretty much an exhibit itself for the motion to dismiss. So TLDR, where we stand right now with the Lil Rod versus P. Diddy case. 2 defendants have been removed from the case voluntarily by Lil Rod. That would be Ethiopia, Habtemariam, and also Chalice Recording Studios. In addition to that, they're still suing. There's been 2 amendments to the original complaint that was filed. We have Sean Chapman Hawley entering the chat, who's the Danny Masterson attorney, and also the Lindsay Lohan attorney. That Lindsay Lohan's dad literally accused Sean Chapman Hawley of trying to railroad his own daughter, Lindsay Lohan, into a conservatorship with none other than Lou Taylor. So this is like 10 years of Lou Taylor, Sean Chapman Hawley connections that are just still seemingly continuing on. Also, it's very obvious that as of 2022, whenever the agreement between Motown and Love Records was inked, that Lou Taylor was still in charge of the business dealings of the company. Let me see what other things here. We have, in addition to these amended complaints, one of the reasons that it was amended, apparently, according to the plaintiff's lawyer, is because he was scared he was going to have his license on the line under a Rule 11 sanction. And these people, the owner of UMG or the CEO, founder, whatever he is of UMG, and then the Motown and itself and the Motown CEO and all that. I mean, they have enough money to just keep this in court with technicalities. Now, all of this, just to remind y'all, is a civil case. None of this, what we're talking about right now, has anything to do with well, it has a lot to do with it, but strictly speaking, it's not related legally to what's going on with these Homeland Security investigations. So Diddy could be found completely innocent in the Homeland Security one and still lose this case. He could win this case, and they could not have enough evidence to convict him criminally in a criminal case. And a criminal case isn't even on the horizon at this point, because as far as I know right now, as of 2:48 p.m. on Thursday, March 28, 2024, Diddy has not been arrested or charged with anything. Shout out to Rabbit in the chat. Let me see. Crime Time, thanks so much. Happy Easter for the super chat. Thank you so much, Crime Time. I've been waiting months to be able to support your channel. I wish I could do more. Yes, thank you, Colleen, so much for the super chat and becoming a member. Memberships are open on BJ Investigates as well now. Burden of proof is different here. In addition to the burden of proof being different here, also, it could just go one way or the other way in each case. I mean, depends on everything. But yes, burdens of proof are different, and burden of proof is different on different allegations as well. He's not going down because he's a spy, and even BJ's Law Smart tells us does not have anything to do with the I don't know about that, but his dad apparently lost his life because he was a federal snitch. So it wouldn't surprise me that the acorn didn't fall too far from the tree. I'm not wishing anybody to lose their life, just to be perfectly abundantly clear, but he was allegedly, P. Diddy's dad was allegedly like a federal snitch, and the people, streets found out and they got him, allegedly. The chat says he's guilty. Let's see. Before I log off, let me just look up like P. Diddy and see if anything's breaking right now or whatever. 34 minutes ago. They updated his Wikipedia page 24 minutes ago. Anything new? Anything new going on with Diddy today? Diddy charges? No, the only thing it's still saying is it's just that alleged drug mule. So don't look at anything's happened yet today. That's all I really had. Now, I will be on later if all things go right, around 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So like 5:30 p.m. Pacific, maybe a little later, maybe a little earlier. It just depends, but around about that time, I will let y'all know. It'll be updated later, but special surprise guest. If you're here right now, then you'll get the early announcement, but we will be going live with Nicholas from Zoe 101. She's a former child star turned advocate, activist. She has her own activism movement called Eat Predators, and y'all have been begging me for a long time to collab with her, to do something with her, and she's gotten a lot of press coverage lately, so I figured, you know what, before she gets too famous for me to have on my channel, not really. It's been in the works for a long time. We just kind of like ships in the night. We're always running around, and I figured we need to put something in the schedule. So it's supposed to be happening tonight. She is busy. I'm not 100% sure like everything's going to go according to plan. I hope so, but we'll see y'all then. We'll see y'all there if so. And yeah, make sure you're liking and you're subscribing and all of that. And that's all I really had for today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye. You
something right now because I know you're watching. I will be saying everything you tried to do to me.